Hello everyone, Johnny Hurricane here from GamersHeroes.com, and for today's preview we are going to be going over what's to come for Ghost of Tsushima. Let's get started. Ghost of Tsushima is a single-player action-adventure game with a heavy emphasis on stealth, and it is developed by Sucker Punch, the guys who you most likely remember doing the infamous games. The game takes place on the island of Tsushima, which is off of the coast of Japan, the mainland of Japan, during the Mongol invasion. Yes, it is open world, the island is very big, and the creative director has said that it should take players, if they want to do everything, anywhere between 40 to 50 hours. Let's go ahead and be realistic, minus 5 hours off that, like 35 hours for most of us. You are playing as a man named Jin, who has been raised in a samurai culture all of his life. However, when the Mongols invade, and their massive numbers, we're talking tens of thousands against potentially 1,000 samurai, there's only one way it ends. No matter how strong the samurai are, they fall. Of course, Jin does survive this. He does take some licks during the fight, but he ultimately survives. When he comes back, he's got one super simple mission. Well, not simple, but super simple and clear. Got to take out the Mongols, prevent them from invading the mainland of Japan. Now, while he did lose against the Mongols, he did learn from this. He understands that a direct confrontation with the Mongols is not going to end well for him or the rest of his people. So, he decides it's time to take a different approach. This is where the stealth element comes in. And instead of following the traditional samurai route, from here he decides that he wishes to become the Ghost, which is akin to a ninja. It has not been said whether or not you actually learn from a ninja or if you just learn from someone else, but the tactics and the techniques are very ninja-like. A lot of subterfuge, stealth, you got deception, and of course tricks such as smoke bombs, firecrackers, things like that. Now, I do want to mention this before we get much further. You do not have to exclusively play as a ninja or a samurai. You are free to switch between pretty much on any mission that you're at, any side objective, whatever it is. Basically, if you want to be the ninja, you probably switch your armor, or the Ghost, you switch your armor to a more stealth-oriented armor. If you want to be the samurai, you do the heavier armor, that you can take more hits, things like that. But you are free to switch between whichever after you learn how to be a Ghost. And as mentioned earlier, the Ghost is a more stealth-oriented, you can kind of think old school Assassin's Creeds, not necessarily newer ones, but, sneaking around, distractions, things like that. The Samurai, however, is a much more upfront and personal fighter. The way that they describe it is that they respect the katana, they respect the art of the katana, and every cut should matter. This means, even for you as Jin, getting cut a few times means bad. You're not looking good. However, this also means that for the most part, enemies can go down in a few hits as well. It's all about parry timing and counterattacking when you see an opening. A quick strike to a vital point means death. That's what you're going for. Quick kills. Because odds are, unless it's a duel, which there are samurai duels, you're going to be fighting multiple opponents at once. Potentially 3, 4, maybe even more. So you have to be quick. Quick and precise, that's what it's all about. I don't want people to worry like, oh, well, that sounds a little like Sekiro. Not that hardcore, okay? That's a little bit more casual than that. I think most people will be able to handle this timing for the parrying much better than they could in Sekiro. Listen, I had trouble with Sekiro. There's also different stances in the game, such as the water stance, which gives you quicker strikes, but maybe a little bit less defense, something more oriented towards parrying, maybe something to help you deal with the arrows, things like that. Multiple stances for the samurai form. And while you're exploring the island of Tsushima, you will come across Mongol-held outposts, farms, things like that, and by taking them back, you raise your infamy. You raise your reputation with the people of Tsushima and the Mongols that are in Tsushima. As you raise your reputation, or infamy, depending on your perspective, you become a little bit more known, of course, but this has an impact on combat when you're using Ghost form. If your reputation or infamy is high enough and you attack a Mongol outpost, killing a few of the Mongols and there's a few of them left, they may just straight up surrender or run. They'll throw their weapons down and bail because they know that you are a killer, a cold-blooded killer, and they don't want to fight. And as such, you can use fear as a weapon that way. Of course, this isn't going to apply to the higher ranked officers and things like that, but the peons, they will run away or drop their weapons, in which case, you can show how cold-blooded you are by just stabbing them while they're down. On top of that, taking these Mongol outposts, you will have other things like torching Mongol boats, taking other outposts, of course, destroying camps, saving hostages, doing side quests, and a lot of exploration. The game has a heavy emphasis on exploration. The way they do waypoints in this game is very unique, I would say. Instead of putting a marker on a map, which you can probably do manually, but it doesn't pop up like on a radar and there's no like triangle being like, this is where you gotta go. Instead, there's these little lines of wind that you follow to your destination. It's, they want to make it out like it's the next best thing as far as waypoints are concerned, but ultimately it's really easy to follow the white strands of wind. So yes, it's a waypoint system, but it's a unique waypoint system, and it does keep a lot of crap off of your HUD, which I can always appreciate. And as I said, it encourages exploration. There will be things like animals, weird trees, shrines, grapple hook points. Yes, there is a grapple hook. Plumes of smoke, civilians, things like that. Basically, while you are on the road, you will notice something that doesn't fit, right? Like there's a tree that's got yellow leaves in a tree, or with a bunch of trees that don't have yellow leaves. Okay, well, let's go check that out. Or someone will be like, hey, samurai, come over here. Or maybe they know your name or whatever, and they will lead you to a different shrine or a different quest or a different event, whatever. Or you'll see like a fox or something like that, and you follow him to a shrine. They want you to explore. They don't want these things to be popped up on your map, be like, okay, well, here's my check mark, here's what I gotta collect. No, they want you to seek these things out if that's what you want to do. The rewards for these vary. You can get things, there's crafting in the game, so of course you can get crafting materials. Things, you can craft arrows, smoke bombs, basically little gadgets and things like that. But on top of that, you can change the color of your armor with certain flowers and berries and things like that. So of course there will also be armor that you can find on top of these things called, I think they're Onimori charms? I'm sure I butchered that. We're just going to refer to them as charms. These charms will help you out in combat in some way. For instance, you're more resistant to poison. When you use a smoke bomb, you heal. When you're out of combat, you get a little bit more regen. There are a lot of these charms in the game, but you can only have so many equipped. So, the best way to get the best charms, naturally, is to follow the animals, follow the weird trees, follow the weird paths, and explore. Again, they want you to explore. They have also said that you do get different weapons, but these have not been said like, hey, you can go find a better sword. It seems more like these are story-related events, maybe some side quests, things like that. But I don't think it's going to be like an Assassin's Creed Odyssey where you're finding a ton of different of the same type of weapon. Like, you're not going to have 15 katanas and one of them has fire damage or whatever like that. They have said that the mystical, magical stuff is pretty much non-existent. That being said, of course, a samurai sword is different from a ninja sword or a ninja dagger. So, of course, you will have multiple weapons, multiple tools you can use to get the job done. A few other things I want to mention before we wrap this up. First off, a photo mode is included from the beginning. Not sure why it takes other games so long to get one in, but it's right there. Black and white mode, so you can go old school samurai flick if you want. And of course, there is the Japanese dub. So if you want to play it as if you were actually in Tsushima, there you go. You can do it that way. And the last thing, I mentioned this earlier, but I really want to bring it up now, is of course the Samurai Duel, because anybody who is an old school samurai movie fan, you love Samurai Duels. And I'm hoping that we get a few, I'm thinking like 12 at least. Hell, shoot, if it's going to be 30 to 40 hours, maybe even more than that. But this is where you will test your skills as a samurai. You can test your skills as a ghost, pretty much any of the Mongol camps. You get in and out without being alerted, good job. But to truly test your samurai skill, you need to test it against another professional samurai. And now that I'm talking about it, this might actually be where you get your new weapons for the samurai. No word on how many there are, but we did see at least a couple, so I'm hoping that we can get quite a few of those, and I really hope they're as good as I think they are, so that way we can have good duels. I'm thinking maybe like, a few slashes, a few clashes of swords, I should say, not slashes. Ting, 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 slice. That's it. And you win because you parried properly and timed your attack well. I want to feel the kill. Alright, and that is going to do it for this preview. Ghost of Tsushima will be launching on July 17th. I'm sorry I clapped, you probably just heard that. And it's on the same day as Paper Mario. So why don't you leave me a comment and let me know which one you will be picking it up. I hope you enjoyed this preview. I hope you are looking forward to the game because I am. But if you liked what you saw and got what you needed, you know how it goes by now. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Later, Gators.